Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a massive, high-stakes global story. We're looking at Indonesia, and the big question is, can they actually take their unbelievable natural resources and turn that into total dominance in the global electric vehicle market? Or are systemic hurdles going to stop them dead in their tracks? It's a classic, high-stakes showdown. Huge resource advantage on one side, and very real execution risk on the other. Let's get right into it.
Now, to really grasp what's going on here, we have to talk about nickel. It's pretty much the undisputed backbone of the entire EV battery industry. Think about it. No nickel, no high-performance batteries. No batteries, no EVs. It's really that simple. In this massive global shift toward green tech, this specific chemical element has literally become the new gold. It is the absolute foundation of future transportation.
And right now, that foundation is under crazy pressure. With the demand for electric vehicles just exploding around the world, countries are absolutely scrambling to meet their climate goals. And because of that, the demand for EVs, and by extension, the demand for nickel, has gone completely through the roof. We're not just talking about a little bump in sales here. We are watching a frantic global scramble to secure these critical materials.
Which brings us to Section 1, the new gold rush and strategic reserves.
So where does Indonesia fit into all of this? Well, they have what you might call a seriously unfair advantage. They are sitting on some of the largest nickel deposits on the planet. But it's not just the amount, it's where it is. These reserves are incredibly well located. This geographical sweet spot means they can extract and transport this stuff super efficiently. They've got the goods, and they've got the prime real estate to move it fast. To put that into perspective, industry analysts are saying that Indonesia's nickel reserves could literally change the global EV landscape. Think about that for a second. This isn't just a nice little economic boost for them. It's a total game changer. They have the power to completely tilt the global EV supply chain right in their direction. They practically hold the keys to the kingdom for the next generation of cars. But, of course, it's never quite that easy. Let's move to Section 2, the pivot to execution risk. Here's where we hit the real tension of this whole story. On one side, you have this staggering natural wealth, but on the other, you've got some pretty severe infrastructure gaps. Digging rock out of the ground and shipping it off is one thing, but transforming your country into a highly localized, dominant manufacturing hub, that is a whole different beast. It requires a massive, coordinated leap, and that execution risk is very, very real. Let's look at the actual hurdles on the ground. For Indonesia to build a true domestic EV ecosystem, they need a ton of support infrastructure. I mean, you can't just build gigafactories in a vacuum, right? You need widespread charging stations. You absolutely need rock-solid, reliable power grids to keep those high-tech factories running. Plus, you have to have incredibly efficient transportation networks to move parts and finished cars around. The raw materials are there, sure, but building out this massive ecosystem, that's a daunting challenge. And we certainly can't ignore the ecological side of the equation. Heavy mining leaves a mark, and Indonesia is famous worldwide for its incredible biodiversity. So they've got to figure out how to tap into these resources sustainably. They are walking a razor-thin tightrope here, trying to balance massive, transformative economic gains while stepping up to meet global environmental standards and protecting their ecology. So how are they planning to pull all of this off? That brings us to Section 3, the policy playbook. The Indonesian government knows they can't do this entirely alone. They need foreign capital and expertise. So they've rolled out a very specific 3-step playbook to lure in the big EV manufacturers. Step 1, dangle some serious tax breaks. Step 2, relax import duties so it's way cheaper for these massive companies to bring in all their specialized gear. And step 3 is pouring heavy investment directly into that domestic infrastructure we were just talking about. It's a highly proactive strategy to make the country basically irresistible to EV makers. A huge piece of that strategy leans on public-private partnerships, or PPPs. If you want to accelerate big projects and bring in cutting-edge tech fast, you team up with the private sector. But there's a catch. You have to balance that desperate need for speed with strict transparency. If this is going to work long-term, they have to ensure that these massive deals actually bring equitable benefits to everyone, not just a select few players at the top. So when you look at the whole picture, success really boils down to 4 main deciding factors. They have to optimize how they extract the nickel. They need absolutely rock-solid enforcement of their government policies. Because, rules on paper don't mean much if they aren't enforced on the ground. They need relentless, consistent infrastructure development. And they've got to ensure environmental sustainability the whole way through. Those are the pillars that will make or break this ambitious journey. Which leads us perfectly into Section 4, an unanswered question. We're going to wrap up this explainer right here with the big open question that sits at the very center of everything we've talked about. Can sheer ambition and incredible natural wealth actually overcome these massive systemic infrastructure hurdles to redefine the global auto industry? Will Indonesia's strategic nickel reserves be enough to crown them the undisputed king of EV production? Or will the harsh realities of execution, infrastructure gaps, and policy enforcement hold them back? It is the ultimate showdown between resource advantage and execution risk, and the outcome is literally going to shape the future of how the world gets around. What do you think? Thanks for hanging out with me to explore this today. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.